7. Good morning texts that make women think of you all day. Here's an uncomfortable truth you need to hear. Most men's good morning texts make them seem weak, easily replaceable, and ultimately forgettable. They believe they're being charming and attentive, demonstrating genuine effort. In reality, however, they're relinquishing their power before the day even begins. Their messages essentially plead, "Please remember me. Please think about me. Please validate me." This desperate neediness permeates far beyond the initial words themselves, leaving a lingering, unpleasant impression. Have you ever wondered why your carefully crafted good morning receives a lukewarm, unenthusiastic response, while another man's concise greeting resonates with her throughout the entire day? It's not a matter of luck or some inexplicable magic. It's pure psychology. The first message a woman reads each morning doesn't simply initiate her day. It profoundly influences her perception of you. And if your message lacks substance, strength, and impact, if it's weak or forgettable, she'll likely move past it without a second thought. The surprising reality is that the length of your message is irrelevant. The true significance lies in the underlying message it conveys. A boy will send lengthy paragraphs, desperately seeking attention. A man, on the other hand, sends a single powerful line capable of shifting her entire emotional state. The difference isn't in the text itself, it's the man behind the message. In this video, I'll provide 7 potent good morning messages designed to leave a lasting impression. 7 strategies to firmly establish yourself in her thoughts, ensuring she's contemplating you for hours afterward, while she works, scrolls through social media, or lies awake at night. Furthermore, I'll demonstrate how Stoic philosophy can transform these simple messages into powerful echoes of strength, tranquility, and masculine presence. Remember this crucial point. It's not the good morning itself that matters, it's the man who sends it. Morning transcends its literal definition as a time of day. It represents a threshold, a pivotal moment when the mind is still malleable, shaping itself for the day ahead. This explains precisely why your initial words hold far greater significance than you might realize. They don't simply greet her, they frame her entire day. A weak opening sets you up as mere background noise, easily ignored. Conversely, a strong, calm, unforgettable message positions you as a thought she can't easily dismiss. Many men err in this area by confusing attention with presence. They mistakenly believe that effort equates to lengthy paragraphs, excessive emojis, and desperate affirmations of affection. What they fail to grasp is that women aren't captivated by noise. They're drawn to clear, powerful signals. A genuine signal doesn't require pleading. Its inherent nature commands attention. Consider this analogy. When Marcus Aurelius awoke at dawn, he didn't engage in flowery pronouncements about the day ahead. He centered himself, reaffirming his sense of duty, clarity, and strength. Your good morning message should emulate this approach. It should be more than just a text. It should reflect your inner strength, discipline, and the understanding that you operate from a position of strength, not weakness. The truth is, a good morning text will never magically make her fall for you if your life is lacking purpose, your words are hollow, and your presence is weak. But if you're grounded, disciplined, and possess a magnetic aura, even 2 words from you can reverberate in her mind with the force of thunder. Let's delve into the specifics. I'll offer 7 good morning messages, guaranteed to keep her thinking about you all day long. Each message is more than just a line. It's a strategic approach, a reflection of your masculinity, a psychological anchor. Once you master these techniques, you'll never again send another weak text. 1. The grounded reminder. Most men begin their day by expressing their vulnerability in their initial text. Desperate for attention, they overcompensate. "Good morning, beautiful. I hope you slept well. I can't stop thinking about you." What does this truly communicate? That you have nothing more fulfilling to do than focus solely on her, that your entire existence revolves around her response. This isn't love, it's neediness disguised as romance. Women can instinctively detect this weakness before even finishing the first line. The truth is, a true man doesn't need to inundate her with words. His strength lies in restraint. His message isn't lengthy. It's grounded, solid, unshakable. A single line that sets the tone without begging for validation. Something like, "Morning, stay sharp today." This isn't a plea. It's a declaration of presence, a calm assertion of authority. The psychological basis is this. Humans are naturally drawn to those who exude certainty. A concise, grounded message signals stability. You're not grasping for her attention. You're establishing yourself as a man with purpose and direction, a man who already owns his day. Women crave this energy because it fosters a sense of security and creates polarity. You're not saying, "Please notice me." You're saying, "I notice, but remain unmoved." Consider Tom, 48, who initially sent lengthy, effusive paragraphs every morning to a woman he was dating. Her replies, initially polite, gradually became shorter and eventually ceased altogether. Why? His messages were saturated with desperation. Later, he adjusted his approach. He began sending simple, grounded messages like, "Morning, own the day." Her responses immediately changed. She started mirroring his tone, drawn to the strength conveyed in his words. The difference wasn't the words themselves, it was the transformation in the man behind them. Marcus Aurelius wisely wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Weak morning texts are neither right nor true. They're merely noise. A grounded message, however, reflects your authenticity. It demonstrates that you speak from a place of presence, not panic. The key shift. Stop sending texts that scream insecurity. Start sending messages that reflect your inner strength. Keep it brief. Keep it consistent. When you send a grounded reminder, you're not just wishing her a good morning. You're planting your presence in her mind before the world even has a chance to influence her. 2. The subtle challenge. Here's where most men make a critical error. They assume women desire comfort first thing in the morning. They believe showering her with compliments and constant affirmations will make her feel secure and cherished. The truth: comfort without challenge extinguishes attraction. A woman doesn't dream of a man who provides the safety of a teddy bear. She dreams of a man who ignites her passion, pushes her limits, and inspires her to reach for greater heights. This is why the subtle challenge is so effective. Instead of inflating her ego, you test it. You send a message that doesn't simply wish her well, it demands something of her. Something like, "Morning, don't let today beat you. You're tougher than that." This isn't sweet or needy, it's strength. It subtly conveys that you recognize her capabilities and expect more from her than the world typically does. This expectation is surprisingly intoxicating. The underlying psychology is this: people often rise to the standards others set for them. By issuing a challenge, you position yourself as a leader, someone whose approval must be earned. This inverts the dynamic. Instead of you chasing her as the prize, you become the prize whose respect she eagerly seeks to win. Women, particularly younger women, are wired to pursue the validation of a man who doesn't offer it readily. Consider David, 52, texting a younger woman he's dating. He doesn't send, "Good morning, hope you crush it today." Instead, he writes, "Don't let today control you. Own it." She laughs upon reading it, but something within her is stirred. Later that afternoon, she texts him back, "You'd be proud of me today." Do you see the effect? His challenge didn't just make her think of him, it motivated her to prove herself to him. That's the power of the subtle challenge. Epictetus stated, "Difficulties show what men are." When you remind her of this truth, when you frame the day as a test of her character, you assume the role of a man who unlocks her potential rather than simply placating her emotions. Women never forget a man who empowers them. The key shift. Stop texting like a cheerleader. Start texting like a leader. Your words should elevate her, not comfort her dissent. The man who challenges her without cruelty, who expects more without neediness, becomes the man she thinks about all day long. 3. The mystery line. Here's the common mistake average men make. They over-explain everything. They leave no room for tension or imagination. They write paragraphs detailing their affection, longing, and hope that she's thinking of them. And the result? She doesn't think of them at all. Desire doesn't thrive on certainty. It thrives on mystery. The mystery line is about planting a seed that she can't stop nurturing in her own mind. Instead of explicitly stating your intentions, you leave enough ambiguity for her imagination to take over. A simple line like, "This day will tell me something about you." Notice the impact. It's concise, yet it compels her mind to engage. She wonders, what does he mean? What will today reveal? What does he perceive in me that I don't see in myself? Suddenly, you're not just a man who sent a text. You're an enigma she can't stop contemplating. The psychology behind this is the Zeigarnik effect, which suggests that unfinished thoughts linger in the mind far longer than completed ones. By sending an incomplete message, you create an unresolved thought loop in her brain. She can't resolve it without thinking about you. And that's precisely where you want to be, in her thoughts, subtly, persistently, throughout the day. Consider Mark, 50, sending a young woman a morning text. The way you handle today will say a lot. He doesn't provide an explanation or elaborate. He simply leaves it open-ended. She reads it multiple times. Throughout the morning, she finds herself pondering his meaning, wondering if she'll meet his expectations, and anticipating his reaction when they next see each other. While she's engrossed in this analysis, Mark is already focused on his own day, grounded, disciplined, and unfazed. This contrast makes his presence feel exponentially more significant. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This is where you leverage this truth. You allow her imagination to do the work. Instead of providing closure with words, you offer mystery. And mystery fuels desire. The key shift. Stop sending texts that explain everything. Start sending lines that say less but imply more. Give her a question to ponder. Give her a thought she can't shake. When her mind repeatedly returns to you, even against her will, you've mastered the art of presence. 4. The silent image. Many men believe that the more they type, the more memorable they'll be. But the truth, every extra word risks revealing weakness. The strongest presence often requires no words at all. This is why the silent image is so effective. Sometimes a picture implants itself in her mind more profoundly than any novel could. The psychology here is that humans are visual creatures. Our brains process images 60,000 times faster than text. A single image has the power to etch itself into memory, evoking emotions long after words have faded. When you send a morning image, not of you begging for attention, not a self-portrait dripping with neediness, but something grounded, raw, and timeless. You position yourself as a man who sees the world differently. Something as simple as a sunrise, a cup of black coffee, or the sweat on your workout gear after a dawn training session. No caption necessary. She will interpret the meaning herself. Consider Daniel, 47, who doesn't text, "Good morning, babe." He sends a photo of his morning run, an empty street, the horizon bathed in the rising sun. No words, just presence. The woman receiving it stares at it longer than she cares to admit. She senses his discipline without any boasting. She imagines his pace, his breath, his focus. And most importantly, she imagines him. That's how you establish yourself in her thoughts without uttering a single word. Now, picture the insecure man. He sends a selfie from bed, messy hair, a forced smile, captioned, "Good morning, cutie, thinking of you." What does this communicate? That his world is small, centered around her, and that he has nothing better to offer than his need. She'll scroll, offer a polite smile, and forget him before her coffee gets cold. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The silent image is your opportunity to reveal the color of yours: discipline, strength, presence. You don't need to explain it. Let the picture speak volumes. The key shift: stop filling her phone with noise. Start providing images that burn themselves into her memory. When she perceives your morning not as a plea for attention but a glimpse of your strength, she won't just think of you in that moment. She'll think of you repeatedly whenever her day slows down. 5. The frame setter. This is where most men falter. They believe the purpose of a good morning message is to center her. They revolve around her like planets around the sun, pouring energy into her day while neglecting their own. This is weakness. A true man doesn't orbit. He sets the orbit. He doesn't lose himself in her frame. He establishes his own and invites her to be a part of it. That's what the frame setter accomplishes. Instead of inquiring about her plans, you state your own. Instead of begging for her attention, you reveal your mission. Something like, "Morning, training at 7, meetings stacked after, win the day." Short, direct, complete. No apologies, no fluff. It conveys, "I'm a man on a mission, and my life is progressing with or without you." The psychological basis is this. Women are drawn to momentum, direction, men whose lives are already in motion. When you frame your day with purpose, you instantly distinguish yourself from the countless men whose lives revolve around validation. She doesn't just read your words, she feels your energy. She envisions you in motion, already building, conquering, shaping your world before she's even had her first cup of coffee. That image lingers in her mind. Consider Anthony, 50, who used to send lengthy morning check-ins like, "Hey, how's your day looking? What are you up to?" He thought he was showing care, but he was actually demonstrating passivity. One day, he changed his approach. He started sending, "Morning, gym done, heading into work, eyes forward." Suddenly, her replies changed. She wasn't reporting her schedule anymore. She was chasing his energy, wanting to be a part of his momentum. The difference wasn't the text. It was the frame. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each dawn, "At day's first light, think of what it means to live as a man." This is what the frame setter does. It declares that you live with discipline, not aimlessly, that your day is already within your grasp, and you don't need permission to live it. The key shift: stop centering her in your morning texts. Start centering yourself. Let her witness your mission, your momentum, your discipline. When she wakes up and sees that you're already moving forward, she won't just think about you. She'll wonder how she can keep pace. 6. The playful tease. Men often forget a crucial element. Attraction isn't solely built on strength, it's built on contrast. You can be grounded, serious, and disciplined, but without playfulness, without a spark, you become heavy. And heaviness alone doesn't magnetize. Women crave a man who can exude authority in one breath and deliver a playful remark in the next. This balance of control and humor is what makes him unforgettable. The playful tease embodies this. Instead of showering her with forced compliments, you offer a lighthearted challenge. Something like, "Try not to cause chaos before noon. I'm counting on you." It's not needy or romantic fluff. It's playful authority. You're teasing her, but from a position of control. This triggers something deeper than just a smile. The psychology is this. Teasing creates a microdose of tension and release. It flirts without begging. It draws her into your frame while making her feel seen in a way that a generic "good morning, beautiful" never could. Women associate this energy with confidence, because only a self-assured man can risk teasing instead of worshiping. Consider Robert, 49, who sends predictable good morning messages, always polite, flattering, and safe. And because they are safe, she never thinks about him past breakfast. Then he alters his approach. One morning, instead of a compliment, he texts, "Don't start trouble before your second coffee. You know you can't handle it." Her response? Laughter, curiosity, and most importantly, she texts him back hours later, referencing his joke. Why? Because humor endures. It resonates. It plays in her mind like a song. Seneca said, "It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable." Teasing is evidence of that power. You demonstrate that you aren't conquered by her beauty, presence, or approval. You're relaxed. You can play. And that playfulness, rooted in self-control, makes you magnetic. The key shift. Stop sending heavy, predictable texts. Incorporate playfulness. Use humor not as a clown, but as a king who can afford to laugh. The man who can tease from a position of strength will remain in her thoughts all day, not as the safe guy, not as the desperate guy, but as the man who made her feel alive before the day even began. 7. The Timeless Stoic Note. Every man sends good morning texts, but only a select few send messages that transcend the morning itself. This is where you differentiate yourself. Not with emojis or flattery, but with wisdom. When you send a message that anchors her mind in something profound and timeless, you cease being just another man in her inbox. You become the man who expands her world. The Timeless Stoic Note involves sharing a line of wisdom, not as a lecture or sermon, but as a spark. Something like, Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." What color are you painting today? Notice the impact. It doesn't flatter or beg. It challenges her to think. It positions you as a man who values discipline, philosophy, and depth. And most importantly, it leaves her with a question she can't easily dismiss. The psychological principle is this. Women form the deepest bonds with men who evoke something beyond superficial excitement. When you stimulate her thought processes, when you introduce her to wisdom that reframes her day, you create an emotional and intellectual anchor. She doesn't just see you as attractive, she sees you as rare, the kind of man who sharpens her instead of distracting her. Consider Michael, 53, sending a young woman a morning message. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Remember that today. She reads it twice, then again later. And by the end of the day, when she feels herself succumbing to stress, his words return to her. But in her mind, they aren't Seneca's words anymore. They're his. He becomes the voice she hears in her moments of weakness. That's not just attraction, that's influence. Epictetus wrote, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." The Timeless Stoic Note does precisely that. You're not boasting about your depth or lecturing. You're embodying wisdom by weaving it naturally into her day, and she feels the difference. The key shift. Stop wasting your mornings on texts that vanish by lunchtime. Start sending words that resonate until nightfall. When you position yourself as the man who brings strength, clarity, and timeless thought into her life, you won't just make her think about you all day. You'll make her wonder why no other man has ever spoken to her in such a way. Now you understand the truth. These 7 good morning messages aren't tricks or magic spells. They're reflections, mirrors of the man you are. If you're grounded, disciplined, and magnetic, they'll resonate in her mind all day long. But if you're needy, hollow, and weak, they'll vanish before she even finishes her coffee. Therefore, I encourage you to go to the comments and write this phrase, "My words carry weight," because that's the standard. Your words aren't cheap or noise. They're extensions of your presence, your frame, your masculinity. When your words carry weight, even a two-line message can firmly plant itself in her thoughts like an anchor. And if you're ready to continue refining that presence, to continue shedding weakness and building the kind of man women never forget, then subscribe. This isn't just a channel, it's a brotherhood. Every week, we forge men into forces of nature. Every week, we build strength that commands attention. Remember this: a boy texts to be noticed. A man texts because he already is. Be that man.